Hey there, and welcome to Careers Unchecked, the podcast where we stop checking boxes and start making moves. This is for barrier breakers, career builders, and anyone who's ready to build a career that actually feels like theirs. I'm Brandy Oldham, career coach, interior designer, and year-round iced coffee drinker. Around here, we keep it real, from navigating career pivots to figuring out how to stay balanced when your to-do list feels like it's just never ending. Whether you're chasing that next promotion, thinking about switching things up, or just trying to figure out what's next, you're in the right place. My goal? To help you trust yourself, take action that feels good, and build a career that's sustainable, not stressful. So grab your drink of choice, settle in, and let's get to it. That pit in your stomach when you think about asking for money. Ooh, I've been there. The sweaty palms, the racing heart, it's real. But what if I told you there's a way to structure this conversation that feels as natural as discussing a project update? Let me show you how. Today we're getting into all things money, all things pay raises. Let's go. All right, here's the deal. Why does this feel so hard for so many people? At least here in the United States, we have been taught not to talk about money. It's in poor form. And I will tell you, I am on a mission to talk about money, to get people comfortable with discussing their salaries. Because when we do that, everybody wins. It doesn't have to be this secretive thing behind closed doors. It can be something that we talk about all the time, and it becomes normal. Here's the thing, asking for a raise is deeply personal. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It's almost like you're breaking an unspoken rule. You're putting your most vulnerable self on the table and literally saying, how much am I worth? That is hard, especially if you're a woman. For women, there's even this added layer of discomfort because it is seen as being, not appropriate for a woman to ask these types of questions. And we've been socialized to be agreeable, to be collaborative. We don't want to rock the boat. And the reality is we have to retire those old beliefs in order to be able to make the same amount of money as some of our peers. We're going to get into how to make this happen today. I'm all about action. I'm all about wanting to give you the playbook. So we're going to start with doing your homework. We need to focus on fact over feeling. Okay, so many people come to my coaching practice and are like, I don't think I'm making enough money. And a lot of times that's true. And sometimes it's not. So before you do anything, you need to make sure that you're going out and you're actually doing the research to figure out where you fall. And so many people are like, I don't even know where to start with this. You can come talk to me. I will help you with this. Or you can literally go through step by step and follow this formula that I've got. By going out and doing your research, you're going to be less emotional and more strategic. And that is the key to showing up with confidence in this conversation. So where do you start? Number one, market data. I want you looking up salary benchmarks for your role, for the experience that you have, and the industry. You also need to be looking up, let's use the United States as an example, nationwide, and also in your local market, because those two things do change, right? Being here on the West Coast, your salary is likely to be a lot higher than, let's say, when I used to live in Oklahoma. I made a lot more as a waitress on the West Coast than my $3.25 an hour when I was working in Oklahoma. And that wasn't that long ago. Where do you go for this? Websites like Glassdoor, PayScale, Salary.com, they're going to be your best friends. Get in there, start with your role title, then go to your industry, and make sure you're paying attention to your experience level as you go through that. Then you also need to understand your company's internal structure. Every company does pay raises differently. Sometimes companies evaluate them once a year. Sometimes there's budget cycles that impact the ability for you to get a raise. If you're working in government, it's likely that your salary is going to be very highly structured and you may not have as much wiggle room. So private industry, you tend to have more wiggle room for pay raises. Government, not so much, but also government does a better job at standardizing pay and making sure everyone's paid equitably. Know what your company's internal structure is. And then I need you to get proud of yourself and list your accomplishments. So this is where we ditch imposter syndrome, and I want you to make a full list of all of your achievements. What results have you delivered? I want data. I want to know, did you 3 times something? Did you increase by 30%? Like, I really want to know what the impact was. And if it's hard to speak about yourself and, explain the value that you've added, I want you to think about yourself like your best friend would think about you. They're not going to say like, oh, Jane's done a really good job. They're going to be like, no, Jane doubled the team size. She's the one who led this whole thing, right? They're going to be your hype person. So really try to channel that inner best friend if you can. So what do these facts look like that are not feeling based? I increased client retention by 20% this year. I took on additional leadership responsibilities and they included X, Y, and Z. I've consistently exceeded my goals in this specific area that ties back to the company's overall goal. When you back your requests with real data, you're not just asking for more, you're actually showing how you've earned it. So you've gotten into the facts, you're out of the feels, we've got the data in front of us. Now what do we do? There is a context, value, future framework that I would want to invite into the conversation. This is where you show up and you have that natural feeling of like giving a project update. It's going to be clear, it's going to be professional, and it's low pressure. It's specifically designed to reduce awkwardness by grounding you as you talk about your value add through facts. So here's how it works. You're going to set the stage. You're going to start with context. I've really enjoyed leading client onboarding this year, and I'm proud of how we've improved the process by 30%, right? Give the context to what it is that you've achieved. Number 2, you're going to share your value. I want you to highlight your specific impact. So since I've taken on this project, I've consistently improved our onboarding process, which has led to insert results here, right? I want to see the action you've taken and the results that it led to. And then I want you to talk about the future, right? That's where you're making your ask. So given the impact that I've had, which you just gave, I'd love to talk about adjusting my salary to better reflect the value I'm bringing to the team and the company. That opens the conversation to allow a dialogue to happen. They know what your value add is. They know the specific data about it. And they know that you are seeking something that matches that value that you've given. Okay, so you've done this, and then let's just say your manager is starting to push back. Maybe they say, it's not in the budget right now. You can say, I completely understand. Can we revisit this conversation in a few months? In the meantime, I'd really love to focus on what I can do to continue adding value so that when we have that conversation, it's a continuation of what I just brought up today. What manager's not going to love that, right? Maybe they say, I'm just not sure if you're ready. That's when you open up the conversation to say, I'd really appreciate your insights on what growth or results you'd like to see from me. I want to put together a plan that aligns with our team and the company's expectations. Again, it becomes a collaborative process and leaves the door open versus just a shut no of I'm not enough. All right. Now that you've got how to do this and you've got how to, frame the conversation, how to answer pushback, what about practicing? Because if you just show up in the meeting without practicing, it's not going to go well. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to get really comfortable with having this conversation. I want you to sit down with a trusted friend and mock this out. If that feels too intimidating, I want you to get in your bathroom in front of your mirror and talk this out. Voice memos on your phone are a great tool to be able to record what you're saying and listen back and continue to clarify your message, right? These actions, when they all come together, are how you build confidence. Nobody has confidence right out the gate when it comes to pay raises or asking for a salary increase. But having the tools and the structure and the practice in place will set you up for success. If you've been avoiding this conversation, I get it. We've been taught to keep money talk behind closed doors and, push it down. It's like this shameful thing, especially if you're a woman or female identifying. But advocating for your value isn't selfish. It's smart. So get out there, practice your ask, trust what you bring to the table, and know that you are more than capable of having this conversation with confidence. Thanks for joining me today on Careers Unchecked. If you've got a career question or just need someone to bounce an idea off of, reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take a breath, take a step, and keep moving forward. You've got this.